And good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another Tilt Productions on this week. It's Friday. We don't usually stream on Fridays, but we're back. Joining me on the casting, I'm Slayer, and joining me on the casting couch today is the wonderful Storm. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Slayer. Thank you for having me on board of the casting couch. I'm excited to see KTL and some of my other teammates that I think I won a BOL Emerald split with. Tonight they're taking down Dorado Gaming, hopefully. Should be a good series. We're in the start of Titan Centennial. So this is a points league, and I believe we are just halfway through or so our draft if we want to transition on over to that.
Uh, so the way
Or
that the scenes work is we have to wait for the full draft to finish, and then we can move over
ah,
toward that. Otherwise, the function doesn't work properly. But
never mind.
exciting matchup tonight with Tilt Witnesses, right? It's a lot of players that we know, like you said, you've teamed with some of these guys before. Excited to see them play, and they're taking on a Dorado squad who also has a decent amount of D4 call-ups themselves with Bubble, aka Cleos on this IGN, as well as Yangu, two players who were very, very good in D4 cap and now moving up to this M100. So excited to see them perform and how they stack up against some of this competition. Graduates from both teams, obviously, with KTO. I mean, he has played M100 before, right? And also Sky, aka Weatherneck, in game, and Big Fisher, who have also come up to this M100 level.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like just kind of looking over like the OP.GGs of all these teams, I feel like Tilt has a pretty good shot at making playoffs in this season. I feel
Hmm.
like that's kind of the goal or what the I think the team is wanting to be looking for is they're looking for that like top four finish, top half finish of this
Yeah.
split. Um, I do think some of these teams do look like fairly stacked coming into the finals, so it might be hard to win a chip in this league, but
Yeah, and good thing Sentinel is a six-team playoff this split compared to the four-team playoff. Same team size with eight teams only in the league, but a lot more teams being able to make it playoffs this time as draft is ready, so we'll transition over to that. And jumping into the draft, we have Dorado starting on the blue side with Tilt Witnesses going on the red side of the map. It's going to be the Jarvan as the first ban for Dorado. So potentially looking to play some sort of immobile mage maybe in the mid lane or an immobile ADC, taking away that Cataclysm from Tilt. Also one of Fisher's more comfortable picks. Very, very proficient on these AD bruiser type of junglers like the Jarvans, like the Vi, Xin Zhao as well.
yeah, I feel like the mid lane matchup's going to be really interesting tonight in between Indigo and uh, Cleos, right? That they both don't play like a lot of more of the standard kind of mages that we see in lanes. And like, I was kind of thinking we might see some of these more aggressive jungle bands coming out because I feel like we're going to see some sort of aggressive mid laner out towards Indigo. That like he's a big fan of Yone and Silas and champions that
Mm-hmm.
kind of want to go in.
Yeah, and the Trundle ban there really showing that Dorado wanted to play the Xin Zhao, so a nice response by Witnesses to ban away the Xin Zhao in the 3, take away that very good B1able champion. It is going to be the Seraphine, however, Ashe is banned, so will not have the classic Ashe pairing, but Seraphine still nonetheless quite a good champion right now.
Yeah, definitely. Has a lot of great pairings. I think MF Seraphine is still like incredibly strong.
Mhm.
That was like the original duo between the two of them. So I think that has a lot of ult. But here's the Sejuani locked in for tilt. So I'm wondering if we're going to see any of these melee mids I was just
Yeah, it could
alluding
be
to.
just a Yone from Indigo, and it will be Yone locked in. Keep in mind, this can be flexed between Indigo and Sky in the mid and the top lane, but more than likely, I would assume going toward Indigo because Yone is a very, very proficient champion for him. It is going to be the Vladimir answered for Dorado.
Okay, trying to match some scaling and some side lane presence. I don't know particularly how that matchup goes. I feel like it must be pretty good for Yone. They're going to take the Wukong as well. So that's giving them a pretty powerful like AoE teamfight team.
Hmm.
You have the Seraphine Alta spread, the damage amp from Vladimir, and the knockup. So Tilt maybe can look to play more towards side lane and try and facilitate something with Indigo or something like that. Have to
Yeah.
see what they want to take the rest of this draft. We are just moving into round 2 here.
Yeah, and with the Nautilus ban coming, or Nautilus pick on R3 coming here, does show um potentially could be a mage ADC for KTL here in this game, particularly given that they don't really have that much magic damage yet with having the Yone locked in on mid. Could potentially set up something like Ziggs. They are banning MF and Caitlyn, which are two pretty common answers to the Ziggs pick. So pretty nice draft phase coming through from Tilt so far. And the World Ender going to be taken away by Dorado.
Damn, this is unfortunately not the World Enders anymore. The legendary team has been retired, but KTL on the pick probably here. It is that Ziggs that you were talking about. Definitely makes sense. This team was lacking some of that magic damage and some overall tower taking abilities, so I think this will work well for them.
Yeah, gives them a very good angle to play the game as well, because having that Ziggs, he's a very proficient on his own. It's going to allow Oral on this Nautilus to be able to make roams and really apply a lot of pressure toward this mid. I would imagine you want to get this Yone head, play with the Sejuani, the Nautilus, so much CC, and it should just be really valuable from these roams. It is going to be Sivir and Mbessa the answers for Dorado. So Sivir, Seraphine in the bot lane, a lot of push coming through there. So they're going to look to pressure KT on the Ziggs, but the Ziggs does have so much wave clear of his own. And in the top lane, we have the Mbessa-Renekton matchup, which a pretty big classic here with Renekton. As we all know, winning the early stages of this matchup, but then once Mbessa gets an item or two, she starts really being able to take over and become more even in the matchup. So we'll see how that ends up going. And as we see the overall team comps coming up on the screen here, nothing unusual, everything going in its pretty normal spot.
Yeah, nothing weird, technically it's like, oh, Ambessa and Wukong could have been flexed around or something like that, but most of these picks kind of being where we thought they would. I think it's definitely an interesting draft from both sides. I feel Dorado definitely are the team that want to be playing together more as a group of five, whereas Tilt, I don't necessarily think they want to be going for full 5v5s. Their team to me seems much more set up for skirmish and for picks with things like Indigo and Big Fisher. Renekton as well, not necessarily the greatest team fighter, much more active in 3v3s and stuff like that. So I'm hoping Tilt can get kind of on the board early while Vladimir and Sivir aren't at their really powerful states.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned earlier on, it is a very big scaling comp for this Dorado team with Vladimir and then the Sivir, Seraphine. All three of those champions scale really well into the game, whereas Tilt does definitely need to get something going early. I agree with you. They have a very skirmish-heavy topside, hoping they can make advantage of that and get some leads throughout the early mid-game of this one.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely have a lot of angles as well. Big Fisher definitely has the potential to go for early ganks. He has two incredible lanes to gank for with both Renekton and Yone both offering CC and being able to apply that permafrost and things like that. The E from Sejuani getting those melee hits into the stuns. So there's definitely a lot of great gank angles, and Sejuani is a champion that while you do have a bit of a slower clear, you do have much more effective ganks. So I'm hoping we see that. I'm wondering if we're going to see any of the supports going for that early Doran's item rush. I don't know if you've seen any of this, but Riot is removing it. I believe next patch that you're not going to be able to buy Doran's items anymore on supports after you finish your World Atlas. So I'm going to be interested to see if we see a Doran's helm on Oral at any point in this game. I think it's super valuable this game on him if he's able to afford one at one point.
Yeah. Especially if he does go for that Jog of all trades rune, it is what makes that Dorm's Helm so much valuable, because it does give you so many stats and you're able to proc it so easily off just having the World Atlas on top of the Doran's item, and that pretty much gives you all the stacks that you need to get that extra adaptive force, make him that much more lethal, just having that extra bit of damage, as well as the CDR from having those stats as well.
Yeah. Any particular lane that you think is going to be the big pivotal point for this game? Because I'm kind of leaning towards I still feel like it's going to be mid. I really think Indigo needs to be able to get some kind of pressure in, but I'm curious to see if you have a different answer.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely also agree. I think the mid lane is going to be very, very pivotal for this game. Top lane, we all know how that matchup goes. It's going to be pretty even. They're just going to be fighting all the time, and whoever's they're just fighting up there, and then bot lane is just a farm fiesta. I think a lot of the impact is going to come from this mid lane and how both of these teams can play around their mid laner, because if Vlad does get out of control, he scales very well into the game, and so does Yone. So both of these mid laners providing a lot of threat for their team compositions. And yeah, I mean it'll be a very interesting matchup to see with Cleos being the D4 graduate moving up into this M100 level, and then Indigo is a player who has played an M600 before in AML, I think, right? As the
Yeah.
600 Aegis one, yeah. So Indigo has played in AML before, and Cleos is moving up from D4 cap. So I'm very excited to see how this mid lane matchup is gonna go. Is Indigo going to be able to get a significant lead on his side of the map, or will Cleos be able to hold his own against higher competition?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not expecting a lot out of these bot lanes. I'm hoping Tilter's kind of able to match the push of the Seraphine Sivir. They do have, the melee
Hmm.
support into the range, so hopefully they're going to be able to help out Big Fisher and get some of these early dragons, because I definitely feel they need to get one of the first two before our soul spawns.
Yep.
And I think we are about ready to transition to game here.
Yeah, as we jump onto the rift, as a reminder, we have Dorado starting on the blue side of the rift with Tilt on the red side. Very interesting coming out of base here. We have Mbessa picking up the Doran's helm as well as the exhaust. So going for a very defensive setup. And then Sivir does have that Cull. So looking to just do a farm fest lane. Tilt looking for something in the Raptors here. Looking for a ward as KTL hits a nice bomb onto the Seraphine.
Yep. Nothing all that major going down. That ward, I believe, did survive in the bot lane brush, just one auto each on it. So there's no bush control or anything like that there. Yeah, you can see it is there. We see both junglers starting towards the bot side of the maps. They're not going to have like the perfect sync into the red side, but here's an early sweeper here from Oral, giving them maybe some of that brush control, but I wonder how much they'll be able to keep that up.
Yeah, I mean, just be a very, very hard bot lane to play. Like you mentioned, the melee support into the double range. And as well as Seraphine just having so much control, very, very strong champion right now, and is able to just zone with those E's and Q's that she will be throwing pretty much off cooldown.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see that we didn't start with Q, the high note there as Seraphine. That's generally what I see most Seraphines start. After
Hmm.
those buffs that they gave to the missile speed of it, it feels so like incredibly hard to dodge anymore that is the E start.
Yeah,
But here is
Indigo going forward here as Oral. They hit level 2 first and he hooks forward the bombs, putting Resign to about a quarter of a health bar. Very, very interesting to see Sivir start the Q in this lane. You typically see Sivir start W to ensure that they get level 2 first. But because Tilt is aware that Sivir starts Q, able to punish and get the wave priority to get the level 2 first and get a huge chunk onto Resign.
Yeah, especially with having started that call, right? You don't have as many of
Hmm.
those stats as well, so that all in from Oral is really threatening. We can see he burned the Ignite and the Flash going for that play, trying to force Resign out of the lane, who was able to
Yes.
keep their barrier and Flash, but he was burned.
Hmm. Yeah, but all in all, pretty standard early game so far. About as much as we would expect, with the top lane being just nothing but a farm fest so far. Uh, and Bessa not really going to be able to find that many angles to fight Renekton early on before her item spikes. So Sky is pretty much able to just keep control over this lane as a nice trade there by Jongsu actually, getting Sky to about half a health bar. Does have that combat sum as well, so is going to be able to threaten Sky potentially.
Yeah, but already a pretty significant lead here for Sky. Six
Hmm.
CS here pre 5 minutes is already like feeling like a win, and we do see that they have grouped up together in this top side vision, securing that scuttle crab. Force Edgewani forcing Yengu off of his first crab. I think we might get a double scuttle here coming out for Big Fisher.
Yeah, and Fisher is there first. Does have the help of Sky to walk in. Very good from Yangu to just be aware that the enemy top laner has rotated and that he does not have control over the river. Just take his reset, take the losses, and get back to his clear.
Yeah, we can see even Oral and KTL disappearing off that map for a little bit there, seeing if they can see that. Spotted out this
Indigo
Wukong.
going for quite an aggressive trade here. Is gonna proc Cleos to just about 1 HP as a fight going on in the bot side with a nice double E from Seraphine though to get the root onto KTL and Oral and safely get them out of that situation.
Yeah, I'm a little worried here for Indigo. Yengu is here and did know that he was around, is going to be able to escape to the top side of this map. Good for him, but they are going to be able to push Cleos in and get this reset.
Oral charging the Hex Flash goes into the alcove. is not going to find a hook ankle this time, though, as Indigo does have that Q3 available, is not going to opt to use it to fight, and we'll just clear away that wave, as KTL consistently finding these bombs onto the Sivir. She's losing so much health from them.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty disastrous first recall for Silver, getting just a
Hmm.
longsword and a refillable. Those are not the items you want to be seeing. You want to be getting towards that Essence Reaver as quickly as possible to get that 500 CS win condition.
Yeah, as in Indigo going forward with the Soul Unbound, falling quite low, but does have the Q3 available. The snapback is going to be enough to secure the kill onto Cleos.
Yeah, that snapback damage from that E just always catches you off guard. You always forget about it. And just knowing the limits of your champion, that's that master tier difference. Indigo picking up first blood is pretty huge for Tilt as well. Means a
Nice
better.
hook onto the Seraphine. Amp going to be forced to burn Flash to get away.
Yeah, that's pretty big as well, especially as this first dragon is now up. Seraphine no longer can get towards that safely. There's none of
Hmm.
that safety button here. So now Aura with these Hex Flashes can really look for these hooks as much as he wants to and really get something if KTL is able to land some on top of it.
Yeah, and it's a really good early game so far from Tilt in these first 5 minutes, getting significant advantages in not only all three lanes, but also in the jungle with having that double crab onto Fisher early on.
Hmm. Yeah, and we see that that first blood is translated into heal cut already here for
Hmm.
Indigo, who's able to get that onto Cleos. That's a pretty big. Oh,
Ooh, Fate Sealed goes forward, misses it, and Cleos will pop the ultimate of his own. Ultimately, no kill going to either mid laner, but Yengu is in the area, could potentially look onto Indigo if he so wishes to do so.
yeah.
Very unfortunate for Indigo to have missed that Fate Seal there. Would have indeed sealed his fate, as the name implies.
Yeah, but this should give Tilt the time to get this dragon set up. They just finished pushing in a
Mhm.
bot wave. We can see them
And a
rotating for
nice
this.
public execution for Jiangsu. Drops the exhaust as well. Dominus pop by Sky, though, is going to be able to live for a little bit. Nice healing from the Q, but not going to be quite enough. So it's going to be a kill for Dragon Trade for Tilt.
Yeah, I feel like you're happy with that for Spy as well, especially considering Jiangsu also used his exhaust in that fight there. The Silver Q of Hope over the wall, not going to result in anything like
Mhm.
that. And I feel like for Tilt, that's a pretty big win.
Yeah, and having that early Hextech Dragon on your Ziggs is very, very valuable. Extra CDR going toward that bomb as Fisher goes forward, finds the Glacial Prison onto Amp, and the bomb coming over the top. KTL finishes that kill. 2 kills now for Tilt Witnesses.
Yeah. Another solid play for them. A little surprised that Amp was willing to step like up like that without Flash. Felt a little bit disrespectful for me. I feel like
Hmm.
they might have wanted to be sitting under that tower, but have to see if Jason is able to get anything
Oh.
done towards this top lane because he feels like he's the kind of hope right now for Dorado. He needs to get
Hmm.
something done because Tilt is starting to take over the rest of this map already.
Yeah, and falling to a pretty significant CS disadvantage so far. About one wave in the favor of Sky, but having the early kill on the Embessa is nice. Getting those item spikes to where you are able to fight against this Renekton is very crucial. About a 200 gold lead in the top lane because of the CS advantage that Sky has so far. And across the board, pretty even, except for Indigo having a 600 gold lead on his counterpart. So that's where most of the tilt gold lead is coming from.
Yeah, we see kind of first items getting built towards here. Nothing too different or anything like that. I think Sejuani is going towards the protoplasm harness, I
Yeah.
believe, with those. Um, yeah. Uh, boot rush up Weatherneck. I don't think this is a
Oh,
kill. Oh, that was
hook
close.
goes barely wide.
Yeah.
It is going to be the grub you secured though for Tilt, with Amp being in the area, but is just going to choose to recall. And at least 2 of these grubs are going to go over. Yangu could potentially look to walk in, but is more focused on the blue for now.
Yeah, I
So
do
all 3
think
grubs will be falling to Tilt.
Yeah, I do think these got a lot better after the bus that they had received, and
Hmm.
with like just this new patch and the new, I guess it's not new, but this season with all the additional turret plates and things like that, I think crafts
Yeah.
are like a little bit undervalued by a lot of teams. So it is good to see those going over, especially to the team that's wanting to push their lead and things like that. Half minutes
We're
on this
going
Drake.
forward with the Q3. Hook is not going to connect, but Indigo is going to snap back, doesn't find quite enough damage to take down Cleos, but his support is here to help him push in this wave. As fight going on the top side, Sky's going to pop the Dominus Public Execution to dash away, another dash, and the stun coming through now for Fisher. Not going to be quite enough though. Sky flashes forward, finds the kill finally, and will also live. So after a nice juggle of the tower shots, ultimately going to find the kill into Jongsu.
Yeah, and deny it full cannon wave here. We should be able to get a plate, especially with that turret. Crystalline growth buildup as well on that tower should be pretty big. We see Amp is now roamed to this mid lane to try and get his mid laner
Oh,
reset.
Amp in
Indigo is
danger.
looking in.
Indigo does have the snapback though. Yangu is here. Snaps back. Cleos, though, doing so much damage. The Cyclone gonna come through. Cleos goes into the pool and will take down Indigo. That's a shutdown going over to Dorado.
Yeah, pretty big for them, especially getting it onto Vlad as well is big, but had to burn a lot of
Ooh,
things for that.
bomb. Just barely gonna go wide. Cleo's gonna walk out of that one.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of really key cooldowns here that I'm not sure if they're going to have everything up for this second Drake here that's spawning in just a minute
Mm-hmm.
20 here. So KTL should be able to get a pretty good push in and a reset if he so wants. He is sitting on half mana, so it doesn't have to at any point like that. And I feel like with Sejuani on towards this bot side, they are clearing up. There is a lot of plays here for Tilt to get a pretty substantial lead and really threaten towards an early soul.
Yeah, and with the protoplasm already coming through from Fisher, gives him so much effective health with having basically a mini Mundo ult. So gonna make him super tanky and really hard to take down in fights. Gonna be able to consistently keep applying these permafrost that Indigo is gonna help proc with his melee auto attacks. As Indigo taking quite a nice trade here in the mid lane, goes forward with the Q3, but is not gonna find it.
Yeah, I can see kind of
Oh,
quests
this
are
one connects
starting.
though.
Oh,
Encore gonna go
oh,
wide from Amp as Indigo. Looking to just fight forward here with Oral behind him. Is gonna fall pretty low. Q3 going forward is not gonna find its mark. As Indigo gonna be able to get out of this one.
yeah, it doesn't have TP though, unfortunately, and this drag is up in 15 seconds, so
Mm.
might be a 5v4 on the map for the start of this, but hopefully their mid
Yengu looking
laners.
behind on Sky though. Is not spotted on the vision quite yet. Just waiting in the tri bush.
Yeah, this is such a large amount of time. You have to feel they go for this play. Tilt just immediately snaps onto this
Okay,
dragon
he's
and
he's
starts
been
it.
he's been noted now. Sky's gonna be able to slice out. Does not have the dice though. Gonna proc the Dominus. Cyclone is gonna set up the public execution. Another Cyclone knocking him up again. Jongsu picks up the kill.
Yeah. So I guess we're fine to try and get our Ambessa to be really ahead in this. I don't know if it's working so far. They've already got that one kill kind of back in trade when that gank top lane from Big Fisher. So have to see if all this time and effort they are putting into the Ambessa is going to be the primary carry for this team. They
Hmm.
will have access, of course, to that teleport there. You can just see their role quest is finished now in the top lane, so they do have access to that. But your bot lane is getting taken away from Tilt here as well as that second dragon going through. And we're on a Cloud Soul map, an incredible scaling map for this Tilt team. And here's a gank coming towards mid.
Yeah, Hook is gonna go wide. Q3 gonna be denied by the pool. Nice job by Cleos to avoid the gank.
Yeah,
But
but looks
now,
like Tilt
plays
is
looking towards
just
bot side. Glacial Prison's gonna land onto Amp. The bomb coming over the top, doing so much damage. Fate sealed, as well as KTL picks up the kill with the Comet.
Yeah, and they're just going to be able to deny another camp here as well. Looks like Yon has found Yengu, has found the Yone and Indigo, but his Raptors are now gone. His red buff was taken, as well as that dragon. We're down like 10 or we're down 3 camps to Sejuani. That is a terrible place to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely not where you want to be. And Oral here looking for another roam in the mid lane. Or Indigo's Q3 trying to bait out the pool, but Cleos doesn't bite on the bait. Indigo just gonna help clear out the wave. And now Dredgeline gonna go wide and denied by the pool again. Indigo just gonna get the plate and snap back.
Yeah. Kind of curious to see that we're not going for those gluttonous greaves or whatever the upgraded tier
Mm-hmm.
3 boots in mid are on Indigo, instead going for that attack speed. I feel like those are kind of the flavor of the month kind of OP item that we've been seeing things popping up like Riven mid and whatnot because of those
Yeah.
uh, upgrades. But I mean, Yone's always loved attack speed, so not too surprised to see these as well for him.
Yeah, definitely can't be upset about having the extra attack speed to just get more Qs out. And he is landing the mark on these Qs quite accurately, landing a lot of these Q1s and finding his mark on the dashes forward with a Q3, as well as baiting out the spell shift from Resign is gonna find a lot of damage, puts him to about half HP as bot lane tower gonna go down. Cleos pops the pool, they're gonna avoid the bomb. Oral has to be forced to flash away as the teleport gonna come in from Indigo now. So Dorado gonna be forced to back up. Yangu's gonna clone out, and a nice double E from Seraphine to root up Oral to stop this chase. But KTL finding so much damage with these bombs. Indigo flashes forward with the Fade Sealed, finding not enough damage to kill Amp, as now Dorado's going to be able to turn on this. Tilt potentially went a little bit too aggressively here as Yangu flashes forward with the Cyclone now, and KTL taking so much damage. Yangu going to be able to follow over the wall of KTL's flash, and 3 kills go over to Dorado.
Yeah, that's a pretty huge disaster for Tilt. Just so many kills going over. That's a lot of their gold lead gone. Wukong was kind of the one picking them up as well, and he's kind of in
Mhm.
his low state of we finished Journey Force. We've spiked really, really hard. Have to wait for his next item to come out. So that's going to be a lot of pickup, and we see Resign even able to get some towers down in mid. Has the Effens Reaver finished? We've had 2 people on our team of also have to stop up and buy anti-heal as well. We can see there's the Oblivion Orb as well as the Executioner's Calling here for Tilt. So
Mhm.
big, big play for Dorado back into this game. You can see they now have a gold lead here. They don't really have the timing window here to contest this Rift Herald, I believe. So this should be tilts as well.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're able to do anything with the gold lead that they've now acquired. Yangu having a substantial 700 gold on his counterpart. So that's where most of the Dorado gold lead is coming from. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, these early objectives all going over to Tilt so far. Both dragons and the grubbies. Now the Rift Herald falls to their hands as well, with the third dragon of the game, the Cloud Dragon, spawning in 40 seconds. We'll see if Tilt is able to contend and contest that after having burned all their flashes earlier. Ultimates coming back up, though, may make the job a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's kind of that thing of what are they going to decide to use this Rift Herald for? Is it just a simple get mid priority, hit down the tower? Are
Mhm.
they going to use a Battle Herald here and look for something like that and kind of the Zonia style effect of it of being able to jump into the Herald? Is it the
Mhm.
engage option for Big Fisher? Lots of options with this. Looks like they're just going to summon it in mid and run it into the tower here to try and force
Yeah,
some
and that
cryo
should
for
be enough
themselves.
to get the tier 1. Satchel gonna finish the job. Shelly will not get another charge, but it's what Tilt wanted. They have mid push and picked up the crucial T1 tower in mid.
Yep. We even have rotated Weatherneck down here, so it's going to be a true 5v5. Ambessa is on their way, but they are a little late.
Yeah,
Here
Bessa
comes the
TPing
TP.
on the flank. Tilt dragging this out toward the bot side. KTO quite low on mana, so we'll see how many rotations he's able to get out. Dredgeline goes wide. Nice cycling by Yangu, finds 4. The Encore finds 3 as well, but it's going to be Sky picking the first kill of the fight. Indigo finds the Fate Sealed onto a couple, as it's going to be a winning fight for Tilt, with Dorado falling quite low. Fisher forced to flash away. Indigo goes back in though with the Q3. Nice Dredgeline by Oral as well. And Cleos will pick up a kill here. And the stun for Sejuani. It's going to be 4 kills to Tilt. Nice dredge line once more by Oral. The Comet's going to secure the final kill. And it's going to be a ace for Tilt, clawing their way back into this game. And 3 dragons to their Dane now.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge win for them. They team fight was really pivotal, and it kind of forces Dorado now to fight them yet again in 5 minutes before these kind of big spikes have come through for them. You can see Vladimir just sitting on the Chovy belt in his inventory, that rocket belt, and doesn't have anything quite finished towards the second item, just the Abyssal Mask. The Sivir is stopped off to get an doesn't even have any components of Infinity Edge, right? We've started a Last Whisper. We
Definitely
have a
going toward that LDR because it is a
yeah.
very tanky Witnesses team, right? All of these members on Tilt are going to have a lot more health than the Sivir, bar the Ziggs. So we'll find quite a lot of value out of the Giant Slayer, but it is a little bit of a damage stun.
Yeah. So hopefully Tilt is able to kind of push this one through. Maybe look towards a Baron instead if they don't want to contest maybe a Dragon if they have something along those lines. But kind of they've unlocked Yone on the side as well towards the spot side, which I think is really big.
And yeah, Jongsu just gonna get dived on here. Yengu is gonna be the next to fall, falling really, really low, but Sky's taking so much tower damage, and the Q gonna heal him up just enough to secure the kill and live.
Yep,
As
Triumph
Amp
as
potentially
well.
caught out, now Glacial Prison gonna go wide, forced the Seraphine Flash out.
Yep, and that's just another reward for Tilt. They get to hit up these top side camps
hmm
as well, and just to try and put Yengu further and further behind. See, Indigo is just trying to make sure that Kleos just can't get outside of this tower. Um, kind of keeping this Vlad down a little. They are fairly even in farm, but yet Kleos does have the advantage right now. Just the big one to me is if the Sejuani bounty is able to go over to Kleos, I think that could be a
Ooh.
real worry here for Tilt.
Yeah, and heavy trading going on down there. Indigo is not finding the better of Cleos in these trades thus far, but that may change as the game goes on. Cleo is farming very, very well so far.
Yeah, for sure. Can see Giant Slayer now finished here for Sivir, so we'd have our two items completed, two items matching them from KTL there. We can see the Horizon as well as the Ludens.
Yep.
Even has another component in there as well. Oral not stopping off to buy the Doran's Helm, which I was talking about. Instead, they're running a more tanky setup, I believe, here, not wanting to opt into that tree at all.
hmm Yeah, I mean, KTO does have 8 stacks on the Dark Seal as well, so finding a lot of value out of the early Dark Seal that he purchased. Losing a couple of stacks when he died during that fight on bot, but able to claw it back with all the kills that happened at the third dragon fight. With the next dragon spawning in about 2 minutes, we'll see a lot of action around there, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, building toward the what looks to be a shadow flame, so gonna be so much burst damage coming through from the Ziggs, especially once he completes that, and then the death cap after. So we'll see if he's able to get that before the dragon, and if he does, it should pretty much guarantee a dragon for Tilt.
Yeah, you can see that Dorado trying to set up really hard for this dragon. They've already set their kind of vision line down, and they're getting their reset off on Amp, who's already placed lots of deep vision that Tilt is currently wandering over.
Oh, Dredgeline's
Oh,
gonna land onto Amp. Bomb gonna come over the top. Glacial Prison as well. Comment finishes the kill. KTL 4-1 on the Ziggs now.
okay, yeah. I was about to say this is really great because they have all this vision. They can see where Tilt is coming from and how they're going to be setting this up. But with their support dead and them so far now into the enemy jungle, there is no vision for Dorado. I'm pretty sure this is all dark for them.
Yeah. Both teams
So
have all their vision in the enemy jungles, so
yeah,
Dorado's vision isn't going to be able to help them retake into the area to be able to take this dragon. As Dredgeline going to
Kleos.
find its way onto Kleos. Goes into the pool, but Fisher ready with the stun when he comes out. So much healing, though, from the ultimate as Encore lands onto 3, and now Yengu is here to support the team. Cyclone onto 3 as well. Indigo uses the Fate Seal to get out as KTL is super deep. Yengu flashes forward to use the second charge as a Cyclone, but will explode as now Tilt trying to get out, but the public execution is going to find Fisher, and Jongsu's going to be able to find his way onto Kill as well. Could potentially find a third here, taking down Indigo, and it's going to be an ace for Dorado. Quadra kill to Jongsu.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an overdive as well there, but great job from Kleos just saving their pool for so long there until the very end and just forcing Tilt to go so deep into that play. You could see how many ults and things that he was able to get out. The Seraphine shields as well there from Ampa, and the heal was able to make him live. And that's a pretty big win for them. That delays this game. We were talking that they are the scaling
Mhm.
comp in this game. They want this game to get delayed, go late, get Sivir and Vlad to those really huge item spikes. And this buys them at least another 5 minutes here with this Dragon take. So we're going to have this game probably going to around the 30-minute mark, if I had to
Mhm.
guess, for the side of Tilt. Unless they're able to get some sort of Baron within the next couple of minutes to really force things to happen. And that's a win for Dorado. It's a little bit of a worry here for Tilt, but it was just a misplay. It's the thing, and they can recuperate, and it wasn't a case of somebody doing something like incredibly great on the side of Dorado. It was just them doing something wrong. They know that they can just calm down, play it by the numbers, and just look for
Mhm.
this again in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Dorado has just been doing a really good job of punishing Tilt on their overcommits, especially on this bot side of the map, is where we've seen all the Dorado action come from. But Yengu has been doing such a great job of consistently finding 3, 4, even 5-man cyclones with the spin. So, a really nice job from the Monkey King himself.
Yeah, and Jaesong as well, picking up a lot of these kills. That is accelerating this Abasa, that they're going to have probably an item lead over Weatherneck here, despite kind of being on the back foot in terms of CS.
Hmm.
But Baron set up the Baron dance. It's time to shuffle. It's time to shimmy. That's the name of the game now. You can see Tilt has cleared all the vision out, all those extra scryer blooms here from this Drake map gonna help that out. There's no vision currently on it, and we can see Amp really antsy wanting to get in here. Does have Yengu to help him come establish vision, and we'll see how much poke that KTL is able to
Yeah.
get down here with these bombs.
Yeah, and with the Shadow Flame now, is going to be able to do so much burst to a target if Oral is able to find these dredge lines. Um, but yeah, I mean, Dorado is going to be able to find their way back into this game, especially once Resign gets that fully completed Infinity Edge. It's going to give him so much more damage compared to what he has now. And if they don't get on top of that Sivir, that could be a pretty dangerous fight for Tilt to go into.
Yeah, even see that they've been able to kind of establish themselves. They're able to secure both of their red and blue buffs, something that Tilt has been contesting all game. Those have both finally gone over to Dorado as well. They've been able to kind of push their vision line back. Tilt is trying to establish one towards this Baron, but their Baron take, I think, without Yone is so incredibly slow that
Yes.
that as long as you see Indigo towards the bot side of the map, you know that Tilt is now never going to be on that. So Dorado, I don't think is any fear for that. So probably just waiting this 2.5 minutes until this Cloud Drake comes up.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely don't want to fight the Baron without Yone. Even if he does have the teleport available, it's so much damage for the Tilt's Baron take is definitely for sure on this Yone, as well as just the fact that he's able to keep applying the permafrost stacks for Sejuani to keep getting the E proc on the Baron. It's just so crucial for that.
Yeah. Um, be interested to see what our next item is kind of going to come out for Sejuani. We've kind of completed the menage a trois of like supportive items that we've just
Hmm.
adopted: Bandle Pipes, the Protoplasm, and the Storm item that I can never remember the name of. To me, it's just the support
Zeke's
item.
Convergence.
The Zeeks, thank you. Oh, we're
Yes.
canceling a Seraphine back. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Ultimate will be back up for a
Yeah.
dragon fight, so not a bad use of it at all. It is a pretty short cooldown for the Zigzagold, as we see. It's about already a third of the way back to being up, so not bad at all. Is gonna hit the base for an extra needlessly large rod as well. Yeah, it's only 60 seconds on that Zig's old cooldown. But yeah, KTO getting very close to this death cap. It's going to give him a huge damage spike once he does end up finishing it. But even before then, does so much damage. Now, with those three items that he has currently in the inventory, it is the Knight's Vow picked up for Fisher. So most likely going to go on to Indigo because
Yeah.
Indigo is the frontliner, going to redirect a lot of the damage toward Fisher. And Fisher is very tanky. So that's very helpful for Tilt.
Yeah.
As Fisher is going to walk in and bind it to him right now.
Yeah, kind of big spikes coming through here for Dorado. We can see third items kind of coming through. The Sterix Gauge finished here for Jasong, so he can be on that front line a little bit more.
Hmm.
Death Cap here finished for Kleos on this Vladimir is really worrying. The Sivir's Infinity Edge is done now, as well as the Seraphine tier item has completed as well. So there's just a
Yeah.
lot of spikes here for Dorado. This is going to be a really hard team fight, I think, here for Tilt, but they got to
Yeah.
go for it because it's just going to get worse and worse after this point.
Yeah, and crucially for Dorado, Sky is not able to finish the Sterix gauge to match Jongsu for this team fight as Fisher finding his way onto Amp, but could potentially be a little bit deep. Amp takes so much damage, but it is a Seraphine. It could be able to provide use to his team still if he stays around with this Encore, but Fisher looking really deep onto the support, burns so much just to take down Amp, but that is Encore down crucially. Oral flashes forward to get the ult onto Rain or Resign as Indigo, a nice fade sealed, but the counter from Dorado is not going to be quite enough. Jongsu finds his way into the backline, but is not going to be able to find any kills off of it. So at the end of the day, a 2-for-1 trade going in the favor of Tilt, and it should be the Dragon secured as well. So that's Soul for Tilt. Huge pickup.
Yeah, but you can see how messy these team fights are getting. The two carries as well, and Kleos and Resign are still alive, and they're looking. They've found their way through mid, and they're trying to get back in here. Kleos
Nice
looking for
satchel
something here.
charge. As KTO is taking a lot of... Whoa, Yangu just died. from something. As Oral finds a nice depth charge on to Resign. That's the big target that needs to be taken down as the permafrost stacks are there. Indigo flashes forward, picks up the kill onto Resign as it's only Cleos left standing. KTO flashes away. It's going to be just barely enough as the Glacial Prison comes out after he's already dead just to secure it. KTL barely getting away from that sound wave.
Yeah, the nice dancing shoes on there, able to satchel our wave out of that. And that's a huge win for Tilt here that they're able to get all of these and pick up some of these kills. But you can just see the scariness of this Dorado team. They're approaching critical mass of that scaling point. At least with the Sterix gauge now, the Weatherneck will hopefully be able to Sky get
Hmm.
in a little bit deeper and be more threatening and not pop quite as easily. But that was a really great play from Big Fisher, just making sure to get amped down so that that Seraphine ult wasn't able to come through on the dive. We saw Kleos was really in there and really threatening towards KTL, but didn't have the damage to finish off the Ziggs there because there wasn't that CC
Hmm.
lockdown that had been in the last couple of fights. And now it's Baron Dance time. We'll have to see if Tilt is able to pull off of this effectively. Indigo does have a lot of time down
Ooh,
here if
finds
he
his way
is.
onto Jongsu.
Yeah.
Nice trading coming down. It's the exhaust and the Sterix gauge proc from Jongsu. So that's two very big cooldowns that Indigo is able to force out with the nice trading there.
Yeah, but he needs to convert this into a tower or something, right? Get something because
Hmm.
he is the Baron
Ooh,
damage.
big. Oh,
Oh,
oh my god. Amp exploded. Dredgeline gonna land onto the clone, so nothing further here for Tilt, but gives them advantage over this dragon as Indigo is gonna solo kill Jongsu on the bot side of the map.
yeah, so he can get this tower and oh yeah, so we can see
As
a
we look
replay
at
on.
a replay of what is happening, as yeah, I mean, it's just the Fade Seal to go forward and the snapback to secure. Not sure if he needed the Fade Seal. I think he had it with the snapback no matter what, but style points nonetheless.
Yeah, and that's a Baron start here as well. We can see that Indigo is still hovering down bot lane, playing a lot of respect, just gonna fade away, doesn't want to get collapsed on, and that's a
Hmm.
free Baron for Tilt. I really think they need to end the game on this push, but they have the definitely the dive tools and everything to do so. So we'll see how they're gonna formulate if it is the 4-1 here with Indigo on the side, or it's just gonna be the 5 down March mid.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to have to shut down Resign because if Resign is able to stay alive and keep hitting these waves, it's going to limit Tilt's ability to be able to end off of this Baron push. But KTL so incredibly strong now, picks up the Medjais now to keep stacking up the book. Did have the Rabadon's last fight, so that's why Amp exploded so fast from just the middle of the blast from the super big bomb that KTO dropped over his head. And Amp is going to try to clear out vision here, but could potentially get looked on by Oral as he dredge lines to the tower. And
Yeah.
nothing will come out of it thus far. Sivir not here to clear the wave, so it should give Tilt some access to potentially knock down this tower. Falling super low, Satchel just about ready in a couple of cannon minion autos. As KTL is going to Satchel the tower away.
Yeah. We do have Indigo just on this bot side as well, matching Kleos. That's two of the really strong people here. Weatherneck on this top side as well. Tilt really slowing this one down. I thought they'd be really trying to
Hmm.
push to end the game here, but instead just going to play it by the numbers here. Look to get all the standing gold on the map. Going to grab this top lane tower here as well.
Yep, and
And
Satchel will secure that one as well. But Dorado hovering toward this side of the map, a nice Cyclone by Yangu finds his way onto 3 again. The Seraphine ult gonna go super wide as Indigo and Fisher are in the backline and Tilt's backline are gonna win their fights over there. Resign gonna find his kill onto Sky Switch, but it's not quite enough as it's just Resign and Cleos left. Indigo is going on to Cleos as Resign gets collapsed on. Cleos is gonna fall on the other side. The Dredge line gonna secure the last one and Tilt gonna be able to end off of this one.
yeah, secure the ace. A little messy, but they get it. You can see that just Resign and everyone, they went for the desperation play. They knew that certain people weren't there. So they went for it. I respect the Dorado, but Tilt is going to take this one. A 33-minute victory. Soul, pretty controlled across the board. Just a little bit of overaggression, but that's the way I like to see it. You'd rather see everyone go for the play than
Mhm.
not. And there's the victory scheme for Tilt, their first game.
Yeah, definitely much better to see over aggression as opposed to under aggression, right? Not making anything happen would have been pretty bad for this game. So it's nice to see them go for these plays and as a team, like you mentioned, everyone going forward for it as well. Victory screen here for Tilt Witnesses. KTL topping the damage charts, 38,000 damage. They're doing so much work on the Ziggs. Indigo, no um no small feat as well, picking up 35,000 damage. Cleo's carrying most of the load for Dorado with having 35k damage as well, because Resign did get pretty stunted, was not able to contribute in most of the fights because he was getting chunked so hard by the Ziggs throughout most of the game.
Yeah, it feels really hard to play Sever into this team, right? It's not a lot of back to front team fights. It's just people diving onto you and running at your face and you trying to desperately peel back.
Hmm.
Means you don't get any of those big ricochet bonuses as you generally were dealing with just two people. Tilt really splitting the fight up. But I'm looking at who you think would be the MVP for Tilt in this game one victory.
Ooh, okay. I think my player of the game has to go to KTL this game because I think he played a very good job of the Ziggs. His team was consistently roaming. Oral keeps making these roams on the Nautilus, right? What he's supposed to do in this game, and he's just sitting there farming under tower. Nice little Ziggs action down there, and then when the team fights do happen, always finding the crucial bombs, doing a really nice job of just finding the damage on top of the CC layer that his team is providing him.
Yeah, I can see ADC player picking biggest damage MVP. To me, I'm really looking at Big Fisher on the Sejuani. 4-1 and 16. I think he played a
Hmm.
lot. He got a lot of really great permafrosts. He got a lot of those ults down as well into key members. That Seraphine chunk out onto Amp in that fight towards their soul, I think, was a huge clarification point as well. So I really think that Big Fisher did quite a great job, but I'm down to give it to KTL. It wasn't a bad game by any means of the
Yeah.
anyway,
I
and
mean, I think it was a really good collective team effort from everybody. Everybody
yeah.
played their contributing factors, except for maybe Sky. Just a shade to my
Yeah.
favorite wall hopper over there. Um, but yeah, I mean, just really good overall team victory. Really nice, well-crafted draft as well. Just so much CC to be able to set up the Ziggs for damage as well as the Yone. So really, really well done, both on the draft side and the gameplay side for Tilt Witnesses. As we'll take a short break before we get into the draft of Game 2. We'll see you then. welcome back everybody for game 2 of Tilt Witnesses versus Dorado Gaming. And it's going to be Tilt on the blue side of the map this time, with Dorado switching over to the red side after losing game 1. So we'll see what adjustments that Dorado can make, what if they have any special R3s or R5s for counter picks that they can show us in this one.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. We have swapped sides here, so Tilt on the blue side can have access to first pick Dorado, instead deciding as the losers that they wanted that counter pick on round 5 as red. That's generally how I like to take draft, but then again, I am a dirty top laner, and I want draft specifically for me for round 5 counter pick. Imagine as an ADC, you probably have different views on draft.
Oh no,
and
I
prefer to
like
be
the
on
red
blue.
side, you know. I don't want to be one, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't want that first power pick Unara or whatever that immediately gets countered.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially with like the way that the meta is right now, being able to have access to like a very strong bot pairing on R1, R2, if anything, rather than just B1 is very, very valuable. Especially unless of course you're looking to B1 a very strong champion like Smolder was a couple of patches ago when he was just the strongest champion in the game. It's gonna be a Fisher Classic here, Nocturne, one of his best champions, gonna be logged in on the B1 for Tilt Witnesses.
Yeah, wonder if Dorado's going to take away the Orianna. That's kind of the classic Nocturne Ori Wombo combo pairing. They take the Xin Zhao, kind of another meta staple that we almost always see in the jungle. I'm hoping they take it here, but instead they're going to go for the Corki, interestingly. Okay,
Yeah.
right. I do have to remember neither of these two are really the control mage players. I doubt we're going to
Yeah, I
see
mean,
Ori,
Indigo
actually.
not. He I think I haven't really seen him play Ori before that in the past, but you know, probably would be fine if he were to pick it. It's gonna be an Oral Classic now picked up here, barred one of his best champions being locked in. I would imagine it would be something like a Jhin or a Caitlyn's banned. Probably like a Jhin locked in. It is gonna be the Jhin for KTL.
Yeah, just a incredibly powerful bot lane. You're able to leave Jhin alone generally as Bard. You have so much pick potential between the two of them. Lots of synergies between this. Dorado gonna make sure to take some more engage into all this disengage from Tilt. They're gonna take the Rakan for themselves.
Yeah, and Rakan, while being an engaged, was also very good as a disengage. Does have the quickness to be able to peel his AD carry as well as the Grand Entrance if anything is to happen. Very, very good at peeling the Nocturne off of anybody he dives onto.
Yeah. I'm just a Rakan hater, to be honest with you. I generally am like, man, I wish this was Alistair most of the time when I have him on my team. But Dorado gonna go after some mid lane bans here, whereas Tilt, I think, are banning top laners here. Yeah. So, guessing we're going to see our mid laner coming in here for Dorado. If they have been banning mids, that Ari is available as a blind pick or something like that. So, okay.
Yep. Oh, it is just Ari. Okay, very good call there, my friend. We'll see what they opt to do on the blue side as a counter to the Ari. So many dashes available, so probably something that ideally wants to play back. It is going to be the Vigar locked in. He's going to have a lot of zone control, being able to drop the cage up. One of Indigo's better picks as well. We've seen him play that a lot in AML, so... And he was very successful on the pick. It's going to be the World Ender locked in for Weatherneck. One of his best picks as well. People call him the World Ender, so having the World Ender for the World Ender, quite solid. On the side of Witnesses, it's a 5 pretty big comfort picks for all of the all of the people, and it's going to be the Jax answer for Dorado going in the top side against the Aatrox. So we'll see how that R5 fares as we see final orders popping up on the screen now. Nothing out of the ordinary for this one either.
Yeah, I feel like the Jax pick to me seems like kind of wild here, if I'm being honest with you. I really think Dorado needed a tank. Oh, we're getting word here from production that it is Xin Zhao top and Jax jungle, actually.
Ah, very interesting. Wow, Xin Zhao twice on my screen. Holy moly.
Yeah.
As actually one of them was supposed to be as a hen, you know. Xin Zhao died in the lore, obviously, duh. But actually, it's not as a hen. It's the it's the big purple troll, in the jungle. Not the blue one, not to be confused with Trundle. The purple one. So yeah, I mean, pretty solid actually for Dorado. I mean, I think the Xin Zhao fares better into the Aatrox than the Jax would, has easier access to trading, as well as, I mean, if he just builds like the AP stuff that has been pretty popular for Zinzao lane, he's going to be able to sustain up a lot of the damage that Aatrox is going to deal, as well as, I mean, Jax just pretty solid into Nocturne in general because it's a very auto attack heavy champion, and the Counter Strike gonna
Yeah.
give a lot of value.
Yeah, and I mean, Jax basically never wants to leave the jungle. It's like having Udyr on your team in solo queue. That guy is looking to farm every single camp in the game, his as well as the enemies, to try and get to his item spikes and get as strong as he can. Xiangyu, relieved that he is playing against Big Fisher on Nocturne, because that means that he is not going to have to interact pre-6 with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think this game probably, to me, looks like it's going to be a lot slower pace, right? And there's not going to be kind of the explosiveness. Both teams really have skirmish style comps, right? There's not a
Yep.
lot of like big AoE in this game. Kind of the only real thing that's going to like multi-stun, might be those Bard Qs, the Cosmic Bindings. We can maybe get
Mm-hmm.
a cage that'll root multiple people or something like that there from Indigo as well, but there isn't like the big snaps or anything like that. So I think this game's going to be a lot more messy. Um, and we
Yeah.
do have a great roaming support on both sides and things like that. So I don't think there's a clear victor in terms of draft or anything like that. I don't obviously look at these teams and go, oh, obviously X team wins.
Yeah. I agree with that take. I think both teams have drafted pretty solid comps for what they're looking to do. But I would give the advantage toward Tilt Witnesses, particularly for this one, because I do think a lot of them are on pretty comfortable picks here. 4 out of the 5 on champions that they are pretty well known for. KTL, not really known as a Jhin player, but can play pretty proficiently, and it pairs really well with the Oral Bard. So we'll see how that ends up going as we'll transition in toward the game now. As we hop onto the Rift, reminder, it's Tilt on the blue side for this one, and Dorado starting on the red side.
Yep. Have to see. We'll make sure to check in for some stat counts and some first strike damage numbers off of Indigo on this Vigar here in the mid lane. Got to keep track of that phenomenal evil passive and see just
Hmm.
how much free AP we've been able to grab. Ward down here early
Yeah.
again.
And actually, it is a Jax top and a Xin Zhao jungle, so must have
Oh,
just been not lined up in the lobby. But it is going to be Ignite brought for both of these top laners and Teleport for both of the mid laners. We have the Lethal Tempo and the Conquer, respectively, for the Jax and the Aatrox. What are your thoughts on that as a top laner, Storm?
I hate playing against Aatrox because I play tanks, so I don't like that
Mm,
champion very much. Jax, I think, is really fun. I'm really not a fan of lethal tempo on Jax because I feel like it just makes your
yeah.
early game so much weaker. I'm very much more towards the grasp on that champion,
Hmm.
just giving you those extra stats. I feel like with Jax passive, you already have access to so much attack speed and things like that. So I'm not really a fan of this. Ignite in the top lane as well. I mean, it's just kind of the data in solo queue is suggesting it over and over again that you should be taking a combat summoner and just relying on that. But here's a pretty big
Nice
trade here
trade.
for,
Good Counter Strike there
yeah.
to get a nice chunk of damage on the Sky Switch. But yeah, I mean, I agree with the lethal tempo take. I do think like there's not a lot of melees on the other team for
Yeah.
Jiangsu to hit this game, so to get a lot of value out of the lethal tempo, probably won't find that much, considering it'll be pretty hard to gap close and get on top of these range characters with so much peel from the event horizon of Inigo or just a binding from Oral. Anything like that would really stunt Jiangsu's progress in trying to get these takedowns and stack up that lethal tempo.
Yeah, I also just I don't know. I feel like playing it against Aatrox, right? It's literally just
Hmm.
it's the skill check, the micro check. Can you dodge these Umbral Blades, the Qs, right? Coming out of this Aatrox. If you can't, then that champion looks so broken, and if you can, dodge these Arcane Blades, he is absolutely worthless. So we'll have to see
Hmm.
how many of these Weatherneck, aka Sky, is able to land up here in the top lane. There is a lot of CC from his teammates that can make landing these a lot
Ooh,
easier.
nice binding from Oral and the deadly flourish to follow. But Katie, you're gonna get traded on here. Nice grand entrance from Amp to start up that retrade.
Yeah. Oral, of course, running Electrocute on Bard as one does. He's not a spellbook enjoyer as much as I think it's funny to watch people have it on Bard, and he is one of the few champions who can run it. Electrocute is almost always better. Don't listen to Polypuff. He's playing for content, even though he's playing in like Challenger ELO in Korea.
As Oral is behind this bot lane somehow, Binding isn't gonna find a stun, but a nice deadly flourish from KTO to get the root onto Amp. Not gonna be quite enough to secure a kill, but KTO did have to burn his flash in that exchange. So at the end of the day, pretty happy if you're Dorado, you're able to trade on top of this Jin now with having that
Yeah.
flash down. It gives them a much more secure angle, as well as Yangu, if he decides to make a trip toward this bot side, is going to have a very comfortable time being able to find something onto KTL. Still has a flash of his own as a trade coming through on the top side. Weather Neck drops the ignite, not quite enough damage to kill Jongsu off.
I feel like he could have went for that, couldn't he have? He had the extended passive there, the
Mm,
auto. So if he had a flash for that auto, even if he flashes away, gets hit by that. And I
yeah.
think that would have been enough for the kill there, but instead gonna play it respectively there. That is his ignite down now. Um, don't
hmm
know if this wave is okay, it's just crashing towards him as well. He's just trying to set up a
Yeah, I
freeze
mean,
here.
he's done a really good job. Up 12 CS already, so that's two waves up on this Jax already throughout this game. And if he can set up the freeze, it's gonna put Jongsu in such a bad spot for the remainder of this laning phase.
Yeah, and Jongsu realizing that playing against Aatrox is just effectively a very long mini game has gotten boots that he can micro easier. Don't think Weatherneck can get a freeze set up here. There's so many minions that would be so much damage taken here. Probably just going to let this take in, but that's a lot of more CS that he's going to be picking up. Probably going to have an even bigger lane matchup here. We saw Big Fisher was able to kind of link up there with Indigo, just get that drive by, force Kleos away to flash, or I'll try to
hmm
defend some vision here, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. But don't think there's any real risk here out of Indigo. I'm curious, have we gotten any stat count if we could get one producer if you wouldn't mind checking for us?
Yeah, and that's a 50 stacks on the Vigar so far. Not sure what the normal paces was to be. I don't play
That's
Vigar, but
sorry,
it
five
sounds
zero.
pretty good. Yeah, 50 stacks on the Phenomenal
That's
Evil thus far.
that's crazy. What the hell? uh
I mean, nice binding by Oral again finds it onto Resign. Resign taking so much damage from this Bard throughout the laning phase already. That's a nice bouncing grenade from KTL to find some damage onto Am. So it's big chunks, or well, decent chunks to Dorado's bot lane. But it is going to be the Dragon going over to Dorado's side with Fisher choosing not to contest this one, instead going for the top side scuttle, potentially picking up level 6 for the Paranoia. Am taking so much damage though, but it is just going to be the Dragon falling over.
yep. Can see that both junglers just looking to take their farm out here. Trying to dodge away from that counter strike there was Weatherneck unfortunately able to do so, but is able to just stick
Yeah.
onto Jasong's face there with that Q3 of the Darkened Blade. Umbral Dash
Yeah, and
not quite
Fisher was noted
landing.
on the vision, so they do know that he is here and looking for a dive. We see Amp and Yangu opening toward this top side to help their top laner out. Jongsu gonna find the Nocturne lurking in the bushes. Amp is here though. It could be a pretty hard play for Tilt as Amp gonna go in, finds and burns the spell shield, but it is gonna be Fisher just walking that one off.
Yeah, a lot of wasted time there from Big Fisher. Unfortunately, he does have his bot side camps all being respawned right now. So can look for that. Is looking, I think, for this first paranoia of the game. Has unlocked that at level 6. Here it comes.
Yeah, nice event horizon by Indigo as well. Not quite enough damage yet, but it's gonna be the Q that finishes it. Fisher will lose his life for a 1-for-1 trade in the favor of Tilt. It's a big kill going over to Indigo, and that's so many stacks. And the tier as well, getting quite a lot of stacks so far.
Yeah, just getting more and more things ahead. You can see Vigar, just the stacking scaling mage. We're going for, I believe, Route of Ages, kind of similar to that Cassiopeia style. Weatherneck here is able to see Yangu killing his ward on the top lane. Probably going to be a respectful end, but Jasong just going to get his jungler to help him get a good reset off here, while he does know that Big Fisher is not available for any sort of counter gank. Okay, I got a question for you. As an
Yeah.
ADC, why is my Jin building lethality, bro?
Okay. Well, I think in this particular game, it's okay to do so because you
Yeah.
do have that double bruiser in the top side. Nice event horizon though is gonna lock Cleos inside. Doesn't find any other abilities to land though, as a nice binding deadly flourish combo comes from Oral and KTL once more. But ultimately, no kills coming out of this sequence. But yeah, I mean, having the Nocturne and the Aatrox, two solid sources of AD, means that you're allowed to go toward a more supportive style of Jin build. So most likely, I would imagine he's going toward oh, he has two long swords. Could be Hubris, I get. I oh wait, no. I think
It's
I think
Yomu's, isn't it?
Yomu's does also build out a two long sword
Yeah,
because it's the Red Tricks and the extra long sword.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Like
yeah,
I
I mean, I
see.
would imagine he goes like a very supportive build. So just Yomu's into Storm Razor, so he's just looking for full movement speed to just kite people out and then provide utility to his team, and just stay alive by being able to kite away with the extra MS. Nice flash forward there for Weather Neck is gonna force out Jongsu's flash as well. But Fisher is in the area. Paranoia is almost ready, but Jongsu aware of it and will
Yeah,
back up and take a recall.
yeah. I think he did just see him there, but that is going to be the three grubs going over here to tilt. It looks like Big Fisher here.
Hmm.
Oral as well up on the roam. A plate going over as well to Weather Deck, and three grubs is a quite a. I'm pretty sure it gives you like a pretty serious like XP lead. They're worth more
That
than
it
taking a
does.
dragon, so this is pretty big for Nocturne here. Um, they're not up at like a large amount of camps because of all that time they took in that top lane brush
Hmm.
while the dragon was happening, but definitely seeing a lot of good things again happening for Tilt here. Don't think they're on any sort of timer worried about getting outscaled, and they technically have infinite scaling here coming out from Indigo, so
Yep.
um, don't really have to be rushing towards these dragons. I think Dorado probably need to start looking for some sort of play here. They
Ooh,
haven't gotten
Yengu is
anything.
here though, Sky going forward. But the paranoia is active. Crescent Guard not going to push Sky away. Fisher, the one turn on though. Yengu's going to find the first kill of this exchange. Jungso falling so low, and Sky will clean it up with the Darkened Blade going forward once more. Wind becomes lightning is going to land after the Audacious Charge. The Umbral Chains go wide, or sorry,
Yeah,
infernal chains go wide, and Yengu will be able to get this wave crashing for his top laner, so not a bad trade at all. As Yengu, though, getting dashed on once more by Sky.
yeah, nothing all that big coming out here.
Hmm.
Can see that everybody kind of, one for one trade again. Hexplate now done for this Nocturne. Definitely great item, giving you more access to those paranoias and the ability to get all that attack speed off of it after it. We see Jax going towards the kind of classic Trinity Force. It's getting absolutely slaughtered in CS, might I add. The guy has 55 CS at 11 minutes. That looks like me in the top lane right now.
Yeah. Um, I mean, speaking of interesting builds, though, it does appear that Resign is going for Manimune first on this Corki instead of the classic Trinity Force picking up, or Essence Reaver, right? Picking up the early Sheen because Sheen gives so much damage to Corki. So very interesting to see him not opt toward going toward a Sheen item as his first rush. It is going to be Dorado making the first move toward this dragon, though. Yango goes forward, Audacious Charge onto Fisher, but is going to get chained up. Feared curtains are called by KTL, and it's a nice ult from Oral as well, but it's gonna be the turn onto Indigo now. Nice quickness, but not enough damage because that Veigar is so tanky, and the Event Horizon, or not Event
Primordial
Horizon, is the
Burst.
Primordial Burst gonna find its mark and kill off Amps or double kill. Yangu or Cleo's nice sidestep though, but is stuck in this cage. Will ultimately live, but it's dragon denied for both teams so far.
Yeah, again, but tons and tons more money coming in into Indigo. This man is
Mm-hmm.
rich on our Vygar. We are gonna be to the moon with our stocks.
Ooh,
Look at this.
700 goal lead for Inigo in this game. Cleos did pick up a couple of kills there as well, so it's a pretty nice. Like it evens up the gold in the mid lane, but just that little bit. It is gonna be Resign finishing up that Manimune, and as we were looking at that dragon fight, Jongsu actually did solo kill Sky in the top lane.
Wow, that's crazy, especially considering he was down like 30 CS. This guy had such an advantage, and it's generally a huge spike for Aatrox at level 9
Hmm.
once you have your maxed out Darkened Blade to get that
Ooh,
CDR
Cleo's
down.
potentially
But
looking though. The charm gonna go just barely wide.
yeah, and now it's just back to this Dragon Dance again. We're waiting. We have Paranoia up, but we don't have the curtain call for Jin or
When becomes
the
lightning
cos.
goes wide. Shroud of Darkness proc by Fisher, but it's not quite enough. He's just gonna get bursted down after all the CC comes through. Cleo's looking forward, has two more charges of that old nice charm onto Indigo, and it's gonna be all the kills going over to Dorado. Indigo's able to find one onto Resign in return, but it's gonna be three kills and a dragon going in favor of Dorado.
Yeah, and looks like Weatherneck is also getting super go. He's dead. That's a kill
Wow.
pickup. Jax with the 11, that second point in the ult, giving you those access to those enhanced auto attacks, the W
Mhm.
cooldowns as well. Just really able to weed those in, playing really well there. And that's really, really tough for Sky, especially considering he has rushed towards those plated
Yeah.
steel caps there. So he is far away from being able to pick up his first item, whether that be the Sundered Sky, I believe. That is what he's
Hmm.
building
Yes.
towards.
Yeah, and
Oh,
a very good job by Jungsu there because last time we saw Sky flashed for the kill into Jungsu, but for this particular exchange, Sky didn't have flash and Jungsu did, so that must mean Jungsu does have the cosmic insight and having access to the flash first. Sky probably wasn't expecting it, and ultimately using the advantage of that is going to be able to pick up another solo kill.
yeah, and those have definitely gotten him back in the game here. Indigo placing down the event horizon. Don't think the
Ooh.
dark matter will land. And we can see Amp just playing in towards the back. The Vision War has
Nice
been
grand
one.
entrance. Cleo's looking potentially for something forward. Is not going to opt to do so with Yengu so far away on this play.
Yeah, and it was that Muramana rush. You are correct. I have absolutely. Oh, okay. Never mind. He's building towards armor boots. I was like, why does my Corki have a cloth armor in
Yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
inventory?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
keep
for Corki,
forgetting.
you typically always want to go those defensive boots, and with the amount of auto attacks there are in the other team, I think it's not a bad choice at all for this particular game.
Yeah, I'm
Could
just
have also
not.
seen an argument for like Omnivamp boots as well, but
Yeah. I am just not used to seeing the boots over
hmm
underneath for those quest things, and I was just like, wait,
yeah,
why have we?
definitely,
What?
definitely very, very confusing. Like
Yeah,
sometimes I even look at my inventory and I'm like, why don't I have boots purchased? Like, hello, what am I
yeah.
doing? But then adjusting my inventory on the side, all good.
Okay, well, the big thing for Tilt here is Fisher is pretty far behind at 0-4 and 4. He's
Hmm.
half of the team's kill deaths right now, so gonna have to see if he can get back into the game. But Nocturne is definitely one of those champions who relies on snowballing, right? He's not
Hmm.
useful if he's behind, so gonna have to really see if Fisher is able to find something towards some side lanes where maybe the game gets extended a little. But all the towers available currently in the game, Dorado are taking this Herald here. They have Yengu currently on it, and all the backup here at their bot lane. So this should go over to them as well, and they're going to be able to look for this into maybe a play towards the top side with this Herald, or maybe it's just towards this mid pressure to try and break the map open.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Fisher being so many of the deaths has been the name of the game for Dorado so far. Fisher always the first one in, but he just explodes so incredibly fast because Dorado's been done a great job of just layering the CC, layering the damage on top of the only frontliner there in the fights. And once Fisher is dead, it makes the fight so incredibly hard for Tilt, right? You lose that valuable member that can stand in front of your three backliners that the comp has drafted up, and just the Spirit Rush from Cleos plus all of the dashes that Amp and Yengu have. It's just really hard for the bot side 4v4 of Tilt.
Yeah, I mean, Tilt just needs to play around Indigo, right? If we could
Mhm.
get that stack check in again, I feel like it must be like a ridiculous amount right now. Yeah, 219, 430 AP, but
Ooh,
here's
plays
another
going in
fight.
though. Nice Tempest from Oral is gonna help his mid laner get out for now. Exhaust is dropped by Amp, but it's not going to do quite enough. Cleo's forced to use the Spirit Rush to get out as Fisher going in now with the Paranoia is going to find the first kill. Cleo's soon to follow. Fisher will live on 1 HP
Nope.
and okay,
Minions,
he
baby.
died to the minions.
Yeah. Uh,
But I mean 2 kills going over
uh,
to Tilt, not bad at
who's
all.
who's driving this Herald?
Resign, where are we going? That might crash. That might. Okay.
No.
I mean, we drove it to mid lane, I guess.
Yeah,
As
I
a
think
nice cage
that was not
again
an
for Indigo. Gonna deny Yengu's advance toward him. And yeah, I mean, this Veigar just stacking so incredibly well. 5-1 already on a very big scaling champion. So just having that many kills and that much gold early on, very, very crucial for Tilt's game plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the case of this Vigar can like 1v9 this game. He is like 430 AP and we have not finished our death cap yet. Sorry, 562 because we just picked up our first needless of the game before our death cap is done. So I'm guessing Indigo is going to easily finish this game with over like 1,000 AP. He's probably going to hit that before 30 minutes at the rate this
Mm-hmm.
game is going.
For sure, yeah. The very, very scary Scarecrow,
Yeah.
as Dorado is taking control over the river for the dragon spawning in 3 seconds. Jongsu potentially caught out on the side though. Nice job getting out of there. Curtains are called by KTL, finding the damage onto Resign, but Cleo's gonna eat the rest of the bullets for his ADC. Almost finds the fourth shot of the curtain call onto Resign, which would have put Resign completely out of the fight. But
Yeah.
Dorado's still able to control the area for and now. Oral still has the ultimate to call, but the current call is going to land onto Resign, and Resign's just going to explode. Nice collapse by Tilt. But Jongsu, on the backside of the fight, is not going to be able to win the 1v3. Cleo's going forward, though, finds the first kill for Dorado. As Indigo's going to fall, KTL has the fourth bullet available, though. As Yangu actually winning on the other side of the fight, KTO flashes forward, finishes Cleos, and Yangu, not long for this world, the Darkened Blade will not connect with Third Strike, but ultimately Yangu will fall, and it's going to be a 5-for-2 exchange going in the favor of Tilt, with them being able to pick up the first dragon, their first dragon of the game as well.
Yeah, these Mountain Drake as well going to be very valuable, just giving survivability to both these really squishy teams. We see people just getting absolutely exploded. There's no tanks in this game. Uh, our bruisers are not building towards their health and things like that so far,
Hmm.
right? There's no resistances coming out, so these are going to provide a lot of value. We saw that just, yeah, we could see Weatherneck there on the Aatrox just kind of walking forward that fight
Yeah.
and being able to just get into that back line and get onto Resign and just auto him down while in that Dark
Hmm.
World Ender mode. So very messy fights so far this game. Have to see if Big Fisher, with all these kills he's kind of picked up and some assists, he was 0-4 and 4 into
Yep.
157. Definitely improving his Scott line. Hopefully he'll be able to finish this second item coming up here, which I believe is the Stride
Hmm.
Breaker with that Tiamat in his inventory.
Yeah, I mean, and the big turning point for that fight, even though Indigo is the one to fall pretty early with Cleos diving in, it's KTO finding that deadly flourish to find Resign, which allows the rest of his team to just collapse on top of that big damage dealer that that Dorado has. With that quirky down, they do so much damage, and part of that attributes also to the fact that he just didn't have Trinity Force. That gives a big chunk of health. Um, and really increases your survivability. So just not having that for a fight really, really impacted that one actually. As he does finish a Trinity Force now, but would have been nice to have that for the last fight rather than the Manamune.
Yeah, I mean he's arrived to the two item spike. Nevertheless,
Hmm.
does have a longsword in his inventory, so maybe we're not going to go straight into the IE. That we're going to probably pick up something else here. Maybe it's Last
Yeah.
Whisper. That would make the most sense to me, but you can see
Hmm.
towers
Yeah.
going down here. Tilt was able to get their first one down there. Indigo built, beating up on those things with that massive amount of AP. There's his death cap done, so if we could get a quick check, I don't think there's going to be real fight over the scuttle. That will just go to Yengu.
Yep, 298 on the stacks and overall almost 900 AP. Make that 890 on the dot with those minions going down. This Vygar is really fed, but yeah, like you mentioned, definitely should just be the Lord Dom to resign as nice grand entrance with the quickness for Amp, but KTL's not gonna fall. Teleport's gonna come in for Indigo now as curtains are called. Yangu's gonna try to eat the bullets with the Crescent Guard, but the Event Horizon is so good from Indigo, and he just one shots the it's in Sao.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the problem when you're building AP on Zinzao is that you have no survivability whatsoever, that you're relying on your ult to not be able to
Hmm.
save you, and it doesn't always. Indigo just on his face. There's
Oh
another
wow,
event
another
horizon
Event
lazing.
Horizon and the Deadly Flourish not even needed. Indigo just blew him up with two abilities.
Yeah,
That is a fed Vygar.
yeah, this guy is definitely not a scarecrow. He's packing on some pounds. He is eating good today. This probably is a free Baron now as well.
Hmm.
There's
Oh,
no
Event
jungler.
Horizon's gonna land onto Amp
Oh my
and
god!
Resign takes so much damage, and that's through the barrier. KTO, they're
That was
jumped on by Jungsu. Jungsu's gonna find the first kill. Shutdown going over.
Yeah, that's one Baron gone, getting it off of KTL there, but that's still four Barons finished here for the side of Tilt. They have to be able to kill Indigo, and now he just gets to build defensive. This is kind of the dream
Mm,
Vigar thing. If now you build your stopwatch here, aka the Seeker's Arm Guard, to giving you that brief Zonia's effect, you'll finish that up, and then it's literally just going to be tank items here for this
yep.
champion. So
Yeah, I would
have
imagine
to.
also probably gonna opt into buying something like the Verdant Barrier as well, which would eventually build into the
Banshees?
Banshee's Veil. Yes, yes. As Amp potentially caught out the Grand Entrance over the wall, will get him out safely from the Infernal Chains.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's more something like Dead Man's Flight or something, just giving
Oh,
us that
true.
movement
Yes.
speed and
Yeah.
everything like that. I don't think he's that worried about Kleos anymore at this point. He's more worried about
Mm-hmm.
Jason and Resign, but I don't know how much later
Oh,
this game's
nice.
going.
Amp gonna get
Goodbye.
stunned up. Takes forever to kill Amp though, as Yengu goes over and Cleos into the backline takes so much damage from one Q from Indigo as Indigo finds the kill onto Cleos, goes into the stasis form. KTL getting run down by Jungsu but flashes away. Curtains are called now as the first is gonna miss, the second lands, the third will take him down, and the fourth one not even needed as Weatherneck flashes forward, finds the darkened blade, and it's just gonna slash Resign to death. Resign dashes over with the Valkyrie, and Sky is just gonna take him down there, and Ace going over for Tilt, and the second dragon for them, another mountain dragon for the side of Tilt witnesses.
Yeah, that is a fight where I am screaming my head off at my ADC. Let me jump to you as Jax, and Resign goes, "Oh shit," and then turns back at the wrong point and then dies
Mm-hmm.
anyway to Weatherneck. And I am
Yeah.
just, I would be so tilted if I was Jang Song from that point, forced to burn your ward hop when you didn't have to, and things like that. The same problem with recon players everywhere of "let me jump to you" never seems to happen.
Yeah.
But to see how these fights keep going, they were able to get the Zonia's sorry, the Seeker's Arm Guard was down there and they were able to kill Indigo there. See, that massive shutdown did go over, but this full
Mm-hmm.
Zonia's is now done. So still have an item slot left to get tanky as Indigo if he chooses,
Yep.
or he can just keep building AP. I mean, they can't kill you if you also one-shot them. So we'll have to see
True.
what the point is that we want to go towards.
Yep. And like I mentioned, KTL did end up buying the Yomu's into Stormrazor build that I mentioned. Does have a Zeal and a BF sword in his inventory, so I'd imagine that's going toward RFC and also just picking up a BF sword for extra damage for now, which would eventually go toward that Infinity Edge. Tilt sieging toward this tower now, with Yengu potentially on a flank, but Amp caught by the Event Horizon once again, and the binding is going to find him too, but Cleos takes so much damage
But
from
here's the Yangu.
Indigo. Yengu trying to find his
Uh,
way in. The lights go out from the paranoia, rooted up by the deadly flourish, and it's a nice ult from Oral as well. Curtains are called. Cleo's getting blocked for by Amp. Amp is going to be able to jump out of that with a grand entrance as Weathernick finds a solo kill at top side, takes down Jongsu. We go back to a replay of what happened, and both, I mean,
yeah,
Sky's just
top
going to
lane.
pop the World Ender and take him down. It's
Yeah, looks like
not even
Jongsu
close.
did take that ignite, had that ignite ticking down on
Hmm.
Weatherneck, and then take a tower shot from that, and that was just the sheer ability. Then for that extra healing coming in there, remember that Weatherneck does have that death dance as well, right? So there's kind of
Yeah.
those delayed fights that you really have to try and draw them out as Jason instead of going kind of all in. But that's another big worry is that you're not winning in your top side with this counter pick that you were given. You're not winning in mid lane. You're getting outscaled there as well. Corky is so
Hmm.
far away. We haven't even started building our Infinity Edge yet. So there's a long
Yeah,
time for
potentially look
Dorado
for
to
a
come
trap
back
play
in.
for Tilt here. Cleos burns all three charges of the Spirit Rush already. Oral's not going to be able to find the binding, and it's going to be another tower going over to Tilt. But Dorado could potentially look for something here, knowing the Tilt is getting pretty low, especially on Weatherneck and Oral. But no play going to come out of this one. Tilt's just going to look to take their resets and set up for this next Baron coming up in a minute and 30.
Yeah, and there's a Cyrilda's done now for Weatherneck in the top lane to help him kite this Jax out better. The RFC is finished there. We do see that that Infinity Edge is getting picked up, and
Hmm.
Indigo deciding that, yeah, I'm just going to get more damage. We built another Needless. I have no idea why. I think that guy is at like
Needless
15
has to be going toward another. I mean, that has
Shadow
to be toward either
Shadow
Shadow Flame
Flame.
or Banshees. It's Shadow Flame or Banshees, because
Yeah.
it built into both. So either one, not a bad option at all. More damage can
Yeah.
never hurt. 1.2 KAP for this Vigar. Indigo, very very scary man.
Yeah. Can't imagine he's going to get a lot of opportunities to pick Vigar into Ari for the rest of this season. This is kind of like a
Hmm.
very old school counter pick here. And Tilt just really splitting the map up here. They don't really care about this dragon. They have the wave push in mid from taking this inhibitor down, and they're just going to run towards top lane.
Oh, but if Indigo shows here, could be in a lot of trouble as Jongsu gonna dash forward. Not gonna be able to find the stun from Counter Strike, but the entirety of Dorado is here. It zones Yingu away. Yingu takes so much damage. The quickness and grand entrance gonna come through from Amp as all the abilities go wide from the Zanya. Stalls out a little bit more time. Finds a kill onto Jongsu. And almost finds another one. Will eventually fall. Shutdown going over to Cleo. Somehow goes 1-for-1 in what looked like a insanely unwinnable situation. But it's gonna be Tilt who gets another inhibitor on the top lane as a result of that play.
Yeah, just so much going down for them. I mean, that's terrible that Jongsu goes down. I mean, Indigo did burn Flash in a situation where he knew he was going to die just to get a kill. I don't know if that's really worth it there, but S is setting up 30 seconds till this third dragon spawns. Baron is back up and available as well. Tilt, the world's kind of their oyster here. Kleos just going to claim a tower here. Ooh,
Ooh.
Deadly Force and the Tempered Fate missing there from Bard, on, aka Oral.
Will heal
But
though from Oral is gonna force out the Spirit Rush from Cleos, and now the curtains are called. Lights getting turned out as well. Fourth bullet is gonna land, and Fisher's gonna be able to clean up that kill. So that's Cleos down now for the dragon, and it's gonna be Dorado who looks to pick up their Baron here as Inigo teleporting in here behind Weatherneg. Spotted now, 9k HP. Oh, what a great event Horizon as Amp not able to get any value out of the quickness, only onto the Aatrox. Not going to find the very valuable target of Indigo. And now Jongsu locked up by the deadly flourish of KTL. Jumps onto KTL. Nice cleanse though. As he's going to be able
yeah,
to flash away, and it's just going to be a wipe for Tilt. Oral flashes the FF emote
yeah,
as
and
they march toward the base now. Really great Mikhail's usage from Oral there to save KTL from uh, Jongsu in that situation. As the play is going toward the Nexus towers. Nexus is going to be soon to fall right after. Cleo's not going to be able to save his team from uh, the Nexus going down. Will just choose to save his KDA in base as Tilt going to claim the second Nexus of the series, going 2-0 in their debut.
and Tilt continues to not lose to Dorado. That's another clean win here for the side of Tilt. I don't even think there's an MVP discussion needed. Indigo absolutely put on a show on that Vigard, looked completely unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, just incredible, incredible stuff from Indigo on the Vigar. Like I mentioned in the draft, this is a pick that he has shined on in AML, and he continues to do so here in Sentinel League, putting up so much damage. Almost, I mean, that's like double of literally everybody else in the lobby. Just insane, insane stuff from this Friday Night Vigar.
Yeah. Uh, Pretty good start looking here from Tilt. They're looking like they're on the same page. This team is definitely leaning towards the aggressive side, which I think makes them really fun to watch. Have
Hmm.
to see if it's gonna impact them with maybe not having frontline necessary. Like I think this game definitely a little light on that. It wasn't until Weatherneck was starting to really get ahead and was able to kind of fulfill that role for them on the Aatrox. But we'll have to wait and see how Tilt is able to keep doing in this Titan Centennial League. This is going to be, like you were mentioning, like a full. There is a full group of teams for this
Hmm.
8 weeks, so we will have a full 7 week round robin as well. Looks like next week we are going to be playing against the Lotus Ink Bullets, which I think are definitely one of the stronger looking rosters in this league. So we'll have to see if Tilt is going to be able to match up with them.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely a really good start to the season. Very excited to see how they will fare going against the rest of the competition. But yeah, I mean, just a great job tonight overall by pretty much everybody. Rough early game in game two, but really nice job by the team to just come back from it and get back into the game, leading on the back of Indigo to just keep doing so much damage, finding so many kills, and landing so many of these event horizons that set his team up for winning team fights as well. So yeah, and I mean, not even a discussion for POG for this particular game, and just overall a really really nice 2-0 start to the season.
Yeah, really looking forward to how they're going to be able to keep doing throughout the rest of this league. Definitely always exciting to start out as a 2-0. I think the Lotus Ink Bullets will be definitely a big
Hmm.
chest for them. There's like 4 players on that team who were low masters last season, so
Yeah.
lots of people I think to worry about next heading into next week.
Yeah, definitely for sure. That'll do it for us today here on the casting couch. It was really nice to, or thank you everybody for tuning in. Really nice to cast this series, and we'll be back next week with some more action, starting on Tuesday with Eclipse going at it once again for week 7 of BOL Emerald.